This presentation is entitled Evaluation of PRRS Virus Challenge Dose in Vaccinated Pigs. It's kind of an intriguing study, and I think you'll enjoy some of the results. The objective of this study was just that, evaluate the effect of PRRS virus challenge dose in Engelvac PRRS MLV vaccinated pigs in a respiratory challenge model. So we'll use a similar challenge model to what we saw in the previous study design. Questions that we asked ourselves revolving around the primary objective. In vaccinated pigs, what challenge dose of virulent PRRS virus is required to cause infection and the consequences of infection as measured by viremia, fever, and reduced average daily weight gain. So you'll see as we transverse through this presentation, those will be the three parameters that we measure following challenge. And question 2, is there a challenge dose / infectious dose where vaccination prevents the consequences of infection? Okay? Again, it was a randomized blinded vaccination challenge study in the respiratory model. The pigs used for the study were 3 weeks of age and PRRS naive, confirmed PCR negative for PRRS virus. This is a chart that further summarizes, I think, the study design. And so bear with me. It's a little complicated, but not too bad. You have 4 primary treatment groups, and those first 4 treatment groups have both vaccinates and non-vaccinates that are challenged in this particular study design. Okay, and each of those are challenged with a different level of heterologous PRRS virus challenge. So as an example, treatment group 1 has 10 vaccinated pigs and then a matched set of non-vaccinated challenge control pigs. They're challenged with 4 logs of virus. And on down the row, group 2, 10 vaccinates, 10 non-vaccinates, challenged with 3 logs. Group 3, 10 vaccinates, 10 non-vaccinates, challenged at 2 logs of virus. And then group 4, 10 vaccinates, 10 non-vaccinates, challenged at 1 log of virus. And then group 5 is a vaccinated treatment group that receives no challenge, again, serving as a control. Day 0 represents vaccination day. Then day 28, again, pretty typical challenge model. 4 weeks following vaccination, day 28 is your challenge day. In this study, PRRS virus SDSU 73 was used as the challenge isolate. And again, it was challenged in 4, 3, 2, and 1 log based on the particular study groups. The challenge was given at 2 mLs intranasal, a 1 ml dose per nostril. Okay, and then day 70 was study day termination, 42 days post-challenge. What do we measure? We measured viremia, temperature, and average daily weight gain as stated earlier. We measured viremia via PCR. And on this chart, it summarizes the samples that were collected over time, up to and through day 70. And I won't go into detail there, a little more detail in the paper, but that was in an effort to assess viremia via PCR. Temperature was also measured. Temperature was taken day 27, day before challenge, and then daily for 14 days until day 42. And pyrexia or fever was defined in this study as any temperature above 40 degrees at or above 40 degrees centigrade, which again equates to around 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And then average daily gain was a third parameter that was measured, and weights were captured at day 0, day 28, day of challenge, and then termination of the study, day 70. Our biostatisticians summarized the results via descriptive statistics by day, challenge dose, and group. And for number of days pyrexic and average daily weight gain post-challenge, he did a linear regression model that incorporated both treatment and challenge dose. I'm not a statistician, so fortunately we have guys in our group that are, and very difficult for me to explain this, not being a statistician, but I think it's important to have a slide that summarizes it. A p-value of less than 0.05 was used to indicate statistical significance in this study. Okay, let's start on the results. We'll start with viremia. And remember that we had treatment groups that challenged at log 4, log 3, log 2, log 1. This slide is a slide that summarizes viremia post-challenge with the 4-log challenge dose. I would tell you for time, I'm going to use it to describe both treatment groups 1 and 2, which were the 4-log and 3-log challenges, because the results were very, very similar. What you can see in the chart below on the left side is the percent PCR positives, okay? And on the bottom would be the days of the study. And remember, day 28 is your challenge day, okay? And we're looking at percent PCR positives post-challenge. The red line is the non-vaccinated challenge controls. The green line are the Engelvac PRRS MLV vaccinated group. And then the blue line are your vaccinated non-challenged group. And what you can see here from day 42 to 70 is real typical of what we would expect. You know, the vaccinated pigs at a 4 and a 3-log challenge group have less percent PCR positive than non-vaccinated challenge controls. There's a delta between the green line and the red line, and there's a reduction in post-challenge viremia in the vaccinated pigs at what we would call a pretty traditional or high level of challenge with a heterologous challenge isolate. Okay, pretty typical of what we would expect. Reduction in post-challenge viremia. All right. What's interesting as well, though, is what we saw in viremia following the 2-log virus challenge. This graph is similar to the last one, where you have percent PCR positives on the left, study days on the bottom, on the x-axis, and again, same color code. The red line is the challenge controls that are non-vaccinated. The green line are the Engelvac PRRS MLV vaccinates that are challenged, and then the blue line are the vaccines with no challenge, your controls. Okay? So at a challenge dose of 2 logs or less, this represents a summary of groups 3 and 4 where we had a 2-log or 1-log challenge, and I would tell you that they both look the same. The vaccinated pigs demonstrate less percent PCR positive than non-vaccinated challenge controls. We expect that. No surprise there. But the pattern of viremia following the challenge is similar to the non-challenge pigs. All right? In other words, the green line, the vaccinates in the challenge, compared to the blue line, vaccinates non-challenge, is very similar. The consequence of the challenge in vaccinates at 2-log challenge or less is similar to non-challenge pigs. Almost non-consequential. Almost a non-event. Okay? I think what is also interesting at all challenge doses, whether it's 1 log, 2 logs, or even 4 logs, the non-vaccinated challenge pigs show a similar post-challenge viremia. It doesn't matter. Immunity matters in this case, and what you see in post-challenge viremia, whether it's 1 log or 4 logs, it's really the same pattern of viremia in the non-vaccinated pigs. All right. What about fever? Okay. At each challenge dose, the Engelvac PRRS MLV vaccinates had a significant decrease in fever days and maintained a lower average temperature compared to non-vaccinates. Again, I think what we would expect. All right. And you can see that it's represented pretty well in the chart below. We have the treatment groups: 4-log challenge, 3-log, 2-log, 1-log, and of course then the no-log challenge. Vaccinates compared to non-vaccinates, and at each level of challenge we have a significant reduction in the number of days pyrexic following challenge. What is also interesting, similar to what we saw in viremia, at a PRRS virus challenge of 2 logs or less, that post-challenge temperature in the vaccinated pigs are similar to the non-challenged pigs. So what we saw in the non-challenged pigs is an average of 1.8 days pyrexic, not different than vaccinated pigs with a challenge. Okay? This is just another graph that shows the average daily temperatures per treatment group, challenged with 4 logs. Similar to the table, that red line represents the non-vaccinated challenge. The green line, or the Engelvac PRRS MLV challenge, vaccinated and challenged. Okay, and what we see there is a nice reduction in temperature following challenge vaccines compared to non-vaccinates. Then when we look at the 2-log challenge, really interesting. We see, in the non-vaccinates, kind of a similar pyrexia pattern. Okay, similar average temperature post-challenge that we saw with the 4-log challenge. But when we look at the vaccinates that are challenged compared to the vaccinates that are not challenged, really no difference. Okay, so again, at a PRRS virus challenge of 2 logs or less, the consequences of challenging the vaccines is similar to pigs that aren't challenged at all. Okay, this is a linear regression model. Our biostats guy insisted that I add this slide. I think it is a nice slide here. It might be hard for you to see in the back, but it's looking at the number of days pyrexic by group and challenge dose. The blue line represents the vaccinates. The red line represents the non-vaccinates, both of which, remember, are challenged. And you can see at each challenge dose, okay, there's a significant difference in temperature. The vaccines have a significant reduction in temperature or fever following challenge. 4 log challenge, 3 log challenge, 2 log challenge, 1 log challenge, and then no challenge here. So we have a significant difference between vaccines and non-vaccines in fever days. And what's also interesting is, as you saw in the table, in the vaccinates, at a 2 log challenge or less, there's really no difference in fever in vaccines compared to the non-challenge controls. What about average daily weight gain? The Ingelheim MLV vaccinated group had a higher average daily weight gain compared to non-vaccinated challenge controls at all challenge doses. Okay? And again, typical of what we would expect. Vaccine mitigates the consequences of infection and you should see improved health and performance, and we do as measured by average daily gain. What's also interesting here, there was a measurable and negative average daily weight gain impact in the non-vaccinated challenge groups at all challenge doses. In other words, if you look here, there is no significant difference in the average daily weight gain across all challenge doses in the non-vaccinated group. So whether it's a 1 log challenge or a 4 log challenge, it's bad. Okay, the gig is up. Immunity matters. What we see is a significant improvement in average daily gain at all challenge doses in the vaccines compared to non-vaccinates. And again, what we're going to see, as we get to 2 logs of challenge or less, the average daily weight gain in the vaccinates is no different than the vaccinates that were not challenged. Okay? No consequence, or a consequence of challenge in vaccines similar to non-challenged pigs. All right. Again, another linear regression model chart, graph. This is looking at average daily weight gain during that challenge phase by group and challenge dose. And this is interesting. What you see here again, the red line represents the non-vaccinated challenge group. The blue line represents the vaccinated challenge group. And you can see that there's a difference in average daily weight gain, vaccines compared to non-vaccines at each challenge dose. Over here, and I know you can't see it back there, but this is a 4 log challenge, 3 log, 2 log, 1 log, and then no challenge, the controls. And so again, you see a significant difference in average daily weight gain, vaccines compared to non-vaccines. And at a 2 log challenge or less in the vaccines, you see there's really no difference in average daily weight gain. The consequences of 2 log challenge or less in vaccines is negligible, if any. But the average daily weight gain in non-vaccinates, whether it's 1 log or 4 logs, is not different across those groups, and it's just bad. All right. Some take-home messages. In this heterologous PRRS virus challenge, the Ingelheim PRRS MLV vaccinated pigs demonstrated a reduction in viremia, reduction in fever, increased average daily weight gain compared to controls at all challenge doses. Okay, pretty much what we would expect. The mitigation of the negative consequences of PRRS virus infection compared to non-vaccinated challenge pigs at all challenge doses. Okay, not unexpected. What's interesting, though, in this particular study, for all endpoints, viremia, fever, and average daily weight gain, okay, at a challenge level of 2 logs or less, the consequence of challenging vaccinated pigs was not different than non-challenged pigs. Okay, that's interesting. Conversely, in non-vaccinated pigs, the post-challenge viremia and the impact on average daily weight gain was similar across all challenge doses. Whether it's one log challenge or a 4 log challenge, it was bad and not different between the two, or amongst the 2 or 3. So as in previous studies, it's just another example of demonstrating the ability of vaccine to protect against a relevant PRRS virus challenge and mitigate the consequences of infection. And in this study, based on the challenge dose, and in this study, any challenge dose 2 logs or less, the consequences of that challenge in vaccinated pigs was not different than non-challenged pigs. Okay? What's this mean? What's the relevance to us in the audience? I think a couple things, just to really briefly summarize. I think at any challenge level, vaccine can mitigate the consequences of infection, improve health and performance. That's a must. We all want that. But I think it's another example that immunity matters, and that we need to maintain and be diligent about maintaining population-based immunity over time in the industry. System-based programs, area regional-based programs that work hard and are focused at maintaining immune populations over time, and possibly, potentially, at some point in time, we can drive to a point in the road where we have less and less challenge virus, less load, less level of circulating virus, less challenge in those populations. That type of challenge in immune population becomes much less consequential than maybe what we're seeing today or historically.